On this episode, we have a very special Q&A with a wonderful group of students from Franklin College, located just outside Indianapolis, Indiana. Today is January 9th, 2023, and this is episode 529 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey, guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. If you've not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. Then if you hit that subscribe button, you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Touring Plans offers trip planning for not only Disney World, but Disneyland, Universal Orlando, and the Disney Cruise Lines as well. They've got incredible web and mobile apps, and you can catch them live from the parks and the seas by following at Touring Plans all across social media. Visit touringplans.com and subscribe to the Lines app for just $17.95 for the entire year. This is an absolute game changer for your vacation. And then if you're getting ready to plan that next Disney or Universal vacation, you're looking to go on a cruise or pretty much travel anywhere else in the world, head to mainstmagictravel.com and fill out a form for a free quote. Our travel services are completely free to you.
So today we get the chance, an opportunity to sit down with a college professor and some of his students.
Yeah.
Which is super exciting.
This was cool. So this is coming out on Monday. We're recording this intro and the outro to this episode on Sunday. We were able to sit down. We headed down to Disney World on Friday, this past Friday, and sat outside of Sittertown Market. It was a beautiful day outside.
Yes, it was.
And we sat down with these students from Franklin College, and they're doing this trip to Disney World, and they're doing this project on pursuing your passion. And Paul, their professor, had reached out to me a few months ago to see if we were interested in being one of the speakers, basically, during this trip. One of the other wonderful speakers they're going to sit down with during their trip is the one and only Lynn Testa from Touring Plans.
Yes.
I told Rhonda I was glad we went first.
I agree.
Because you do not want to be the following act to Lynn Testa. We are the opening band to that man. So this, I will say, we've done a lot of cool stuff and been part of a lot of cool things over the 5.5 years now since we started this podcast. This is up there with one of my favorite things we've ever done.
Really?
It was fun. It was just, it was just so cool. And these students were absolutely incredible.
They were.
So what we're going to do, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're able to set up and record the interview. We're going to play it in its entirety right now for you to check out.
Hi, what's your name?
V.
V?
Yeah.
And where are you from, V?
Indiana.
Nice. Well, welcome.
Thanks. What is your guys' formal background, as in your college degree or any training that you guys might have gotten?
You could start.
You want me to go?
Yeah, you start.
So I have a high school degree because I went to a hair school 24 years ago. So that was my college. And it was a 9-month course. And it was, all the stuff that I had to do. I had to do a state board and everything. And that is what I called my college. So it actually only ran because I was a full-time student for 9 months. Whereas if I was not a full-time student, it could have ran for up to 12 to 18 months, I believe. And I was done in 9 months. So I was 19 years of age working a full-time, being an adult. So it was interesting but fun. So
yeah, and I did some college, graduated high school, did some college up at Towson University in Maryland, and as a graphic design major. And again, over 20 years ago, graphic design major was kind of new, so I had to take a lot of art courses. I never touched a computer in the 2 years I went to college, which was kind of crazy. And it just didn't work out for me. So I dropped out of college, actually, and ended up going and becoming a computer technician. So I had to go to a certification course, almost kind of like Rhonda. It was about 6 months or so, got certified. And then I, too, started working basically full-time when I was 20 years old. But I'd always liked art and graphic design. And so a little bit later, I was able to actually transfer over into marketing at a credit union about 15 years ago, and then became a marketing manager. And that's what kind of led me into enjoying like the design aspect, getting into social media, marketing things. And then basically my brother, who I do work for, I do all his social media marketing, created his first website and things like that. So a lot of my training was just kind of on the spot, just learning how to do it. So if my brother said, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, I need to know how to edit videos, then I learned it. And this was still when Google was almost new. So I would just Google, like, how do you edit a YouTube video? How do you create a website? How do you do social media? And so that was kind of really just all of my training. I enjoyed getting into audio and stuff because, like any kid in the late 90s, I was in a garage band, and we went to recording studios and recorded demos. And so I'd always been interested in kind of the audio aspect as well. And that's kind of what led me into understanding how to edit and produce podcasts and different things like that. So yeah, that's kind of my background and story, as all over the place it is.
Awesome. Thank you for answering my
question.
question.
Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Nate Erskines. I'm also from Indiana. Explain to me your passion for the Florida theme parks that you travel to, please.
You want to start, Rhonda? Because Rhonda grew up in Florida. She was born and raised in Florida.
Raised in Florida. Yeah, I've always loved Disney. You know, I've grown up on Mickey, and I don't know. I've always loved Disney, and I honestly think it was when I became an adult that I came back to the parks and realized I don't have to be an adult. I can play. I can ride these rides. I can enjoy and kind of get away from life. That, I think, is when I fell in love with Disney. And then when you have kids, oh God, that's just another story. Like, I could cry right now telling you about the kids' stories. But I know y'all are very far from that. But that is really cool to see it through other people. And honestly, not even my kids. If y'all, this was the first time ever that y'all went, seeing it through your eyes is just incredible to me. And that is why I love Disney.
Well, I can't really follow that up very well, but yeah, I grew up. I went 3 or 4 times growing up. Again, I grew up in Maryland, so it was much more of a trek. We did not fly, so it was the 17, 18-hour drive that we would come down. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. We would come down, maybe every couple of years. I enjoyed Disney, but at that time it was just a vacation with my family. It wasn't until I moved to Florida, 18, 17 years ago, whatever, 2005, I moved to Florida
18.
When Rhonda and I got together. And we went a few times, and again, I enjoyed it. But like she said, we took our oldest daughter, who's now going to be 15 next week, when she was 18 months old. And 15 is insane to me. And I will never forget, Rhonda said, my parents are going to come, her parents are going to come, and we were camping at Fort Wilderness, and we were going to be in a tent. My parents had a camper at the time, and her parents were staying at the Hampton Inn, I think, down the street near Disney Springs. And said, all right, we're going to take our 18-month-old daughter. And I was like, this is ridiculous. We're spending all this money for an 18-month-old who's never going to remember a thing about it. And I will never forget, my favorite story is we were at Hollywood Studios back when they had the Fantasia Mickey meet and greet, which is now, I believe, Launch Bay. And we walked in, and we're just waiting. And I'm like, all right, 18-month-old is just going to meet Mickey. She has no idea what's going on. She's probably going to scream and cry and run. And she ran up to him and hugged him and kissed him on the nose. And I look over, and Rhonda's crying, and next to her, my mom's crying, and next to her, her mom's crying.
We're all crying.
And like me and my dad and her dad are tearing up. And I was just like, I get it. Like, this is why people come here. This is amazing. And then we fast forward a couple years. I think it was 2015. We'd always stayed either at the campgrounds or we had stayed at the All-Stars normally. And our first time ever, Rhonda and I
We
were...
stayed at Value Resorts.
Yeah, we always stayed at Value Resorts. And so we didn't spend a lot of time at the resorts. We were... If you knew my dad, it was open to close every single day at the parks. We would make a joke because we never saw the front of my dad on vacation. We always saw him 10 feet ahead of us, trying to get to whatever was next. And this was before Fast Pass and everything growing up. And so 2015, Rhonda and I were going to leave the kids at home with some family, and we were going to House of Blues to see 21 Pilots in concert. First time seeing them, and we stayed at Port Orleans French Quarter. Mm-hmm. And I remember just showing up, and I was like, man, there's a lot more to Disney than like the theme parks. Like, this resort is incredible. And we took the boat over to Disney Springs, and we saw 21 Pilots, and we came back, and we had to get up the next day, and I had to travel somewhere for work, and she was coming home. And that morning, I think it was, we went down to guest services, and we were just like, we're curious, what does it cost to be an annual pass holder? And so we got some information, and then we came back on, it would have been December 4th of 2015, and we bought annual passes for the first time and gave them to the kids for Christmas. That was their big Santa gift that year. And I'm the type that just I don't do anything like half speed. So I was like, if we're going to have annual passes, we're going to make the most of it. And so we started coming every month, and we've done so now for 7 consecutive years. We have visited a Disney property every single month for 7 years. And we're not that far away, we're only 2 hours, but still that was kind of my goal, to the point now where April of 2020, when the world was shut down, our anniversary is in April, and we had started coming to Disney every year on our 10th anniversary. We're going on 17, and that was when we started coming the first time without the kids. And my parents would watch them, or her parents would watch them at our house. And in April of 2020, we literally drove down here, and we just drove through property wherever we could that day, whatever wasn't blocked off. And first of all, it was like Armageddon. Like, it looked like out of a movie, like a zombie movie.
It was weird.
But it was incredible. And we were like, all right, mark
But
April 2020 off the list. We did it. We completed that month. And then the following month, Disney Springs reopened, and so we've still been able to come every month. But that was another moment, was coming with the kids, which is completely different than when you don't have them. But now that our kids are older and they don't come with us anymore currently, we have found a whole new love for the parks and the way that we do things. And we usually meet friends here, or we just walk around and make friends. And it's just all of that. And I think the magic and the fact that this is one of the few places I can think of that you can come every month for 7 consecutive years and still do something new every single time we come.
Absolutely.
One of the things we had decided to do long ago when the kids were young was every trip we'd have a Disney first. And we made sure to mark those off. And it could be anything. It could be eating at a place for the first time, riding a ride for the first time. One of my favorites was the first time me and my daughter rode Rock and Roller Coaster in the front row. We had never ridden in the front row. And so that was that year's Disney first. And we just, there's nothing like Disney. We're Universal Pass holders. We've been going now for 2 years. I say this all the time. When I'm at home, I don't miss Universal. But when I'm at home, I miss Disney, and I want to be back. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. And by the way, I did the math. You've been going for 84 consecutive months. 60 more will be 100.
Love it. All right.
Wow,
We're hitting 100.
you.
We are hitting 100. That's for sure.
We'll see. All right. Who's next, guys? We got half marathon runner here.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah, real exciting. I'm Corbin. Nice to meet you guys. So glad you guys able to come out. What I wanted to ask was, you talked about going to hair school and marketing and stuff. How did you start doing what you guys are now, developing a podcast and your brand and all that you've been doing?
So I had, going back to my brother, he had started his first podcast. We've been at this for 5 years. Probably
this is all you, babe.
12, 13 years ago. So my brother was a strength and conditioning coach for some of the top athletes in the world. He actually trained Kevin Durant when he was at Montrose Christian outside of D.C. He's worked every summer. He would work the Skills Academy for LeBron and Kobe, Chris Paul, pretty much anybody you can think of. And so he was the guy. They'd have these top 100 camps, and they'd bring all these kids coming out that are high school top 100 going into college. And my brother's job was to get them on court in the morning and warm them up. And he was one of the first school-specific strength and conditioning coaches for a single sport. Back when he went to college and he did play basketball, it was very much they had one strength and conditioning coach, and it was for every sport there was. And he got very basketball-specific. And so he decided, all right, I'm going to start a basketball podcast. So he actually hooked up with a local broadcaster in the D.C. area and started the Hardwood Hustle. And this probably was well over a decade ago. And because of his background, and of course he brought me on immediately, they had a producer, and he brought me on. He was like, all right, you're going to do the social media, you're going to do the marketing. And I don't know how familiar you guys are with sports, but one of our first interviews was with Jay Billis of ESPN, former Duke basketball player. Within a year, we were actually flying out to Dallas, and we were sitting in, he calls it the bunker, at the Mavericks Stadium, and we were sitting with Mark Cuban. And like literally having a conversation with Mark Cuban, everybody from Cuban to Billis and all these top names. And so things started to progress, and the producer wasn't working out, so they kind of fired him, and he looked at me first and was just like, can you figure out how to produce a podcast? And I was like, I'm sure I can. So I just started messing around with it, started producing his show, did that for several years, hundreds of episodes. He left, and we started the Pure Sweat basketball show, which is with a trainer named Drew Hanlon, who is the top NBA skills trainer in the world. He works with pretty much everybody you can think of. So we did the Pure Sweat basketball show for a couple of years, and so I knew how to do it. I knew how to market it. I knew how to kind of grow a brand. We ended that, and I didn't do anything for a little bit as far as that space. And then after we were pass holders for those couple of years, we were just every week somebody would message or call, hey, I'm going to Disney.
We'd be in line, and we'd
This too.
hear somebody talking about something, and I'd turn around and be like, well, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to go. And really more Jeremy, not me, really. But we'd start talking to people. And we got home from one of the trips that we were telling a ton of information to all these people. And because Jeremy was doing a podcast, he was like, I want to start a podcast for Disney.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically like, if we're already telling people these things, why don't we just put mics in front of our faces and see what happens? And so that's kind of what we did. And this is almost a little known fact, and I don't know anybody that if you currently listen or if you've listened for the 5 years we've been around, the show started with a friend of mine, John, who lives down the street from us. And
because he, number one, has been coming since they've been
50
open
years.
for 50
Yeah.
years. He was at the Contemporary and went to Christmas every year. It was amazing. He has also DVC, which is Disney Vacation Club.
Yep.
He also has been on multiple Disney cruises. So between the two of them, they had multitude of information, like plenty.
Yeah.
So
And that was, the whole goal to start was just like, hey, if we're already talking about it, let's record it. And if something comes of it, cool. If we help a few people have a better vacation or save money or whatever it may be, then let's do that. John works a very great job. He travels a lot. And so we got
this was
30,
a
40
hobby
episodes
for John.
in, right? Yeah. And I was looking to
But
maybe turn
Jeremy
it into
was looking
career.
to turn it into something else.
So we went 30, 40 episodes, I think.
It was quite a few episodes in, and it was Grey's. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know what the young term would be, but Grey's Anatomy has been around for a very long time.
2 decades or something
And
now, right?
I watch it, and my husband was like, well, we can't put out an episode. And I go, what do you mean you can't put out an episode? I was like, I get excited when Grey's Anatomy's coming out. Are you kidding me? You can't put out an episode? I was like, you have to. You have listeners. He
We
goes,
had
well,
like 50 at that point.
you
Like it was,
still had him.
Yeah, it was like
The point
5 of our
was,
friends,
you
maybe
still
our
had 'em.
parents. I
No,
don't know if my parents know how to
I think we had
listen
more
to a
than
podcast.
that. But the point was, you still had him. So I said, you have to. And he goes, what are you going to do it? And I go, well, I guess I'm going to have to. Because people are expecting this. And
Yeah,
that is
well-
where I
Well, funny
began.
thing was, so we did about 20 episodes going back and forth pretty much where she would fill in if John was traveling or wasn't available. And then it just came to a point where it was her and I. And it worked out really well because originally we were always traveling with John and his family. And so it was easy for us to come back and say, all right, as two families, let's go ahead and talk about this thing. And then it turned into, well, we weren't traveling with them as much. So it was like, well, it's Rhonda and I anyway.
Right.
Let's go ahead and chat about it. And obviously we have a good rapport. Been married for 17 years. We just celebrated 20 years of
Meh.
meeting.
Just kidding, guys.
Yeah, so I mean that's really where it came from. And then being in marketing and knowing social media, I just learned how to build a brand. So it was me starting saying, well, I'll create the logo, I'll create a website, you know, I'll open a TeePublic shop, I'll put everything out there. And then what's really done it is just us being in the parks constantly and communicating with people and being able to answer their questions and tell them, hey, by the way, we do this podcast. If you're interested in it, check us out. And then the Facebook community and online is where we've really grown. I will say now, if you look at 5 years ago, the people that were our best friends, we still talk to every once and again, like now. But most of the people that we talk to and we text every single day, we met via this podcast. They were listeners, or we were sitting somewhere and we just started chatting. And our best friends now are Disney friends. And so it's been easy to do. We've been very lucky. We've grown a ton. We continue to grow. We don't really set any sort of metrics or we don't have an ROI. I mean, it's a business in the sense that we're able to come down here and do things, and we make a little bit of money from it, but not a ton, and that's why we still work full-time jobs. But it is something that we hope to maybe eventually grow one day, into being something where this would be almost probably our retirement, to be honest. Because I will say this, if you're an independent contractor and you're self-employed, retirement is very, very different. So I worked a corporate job for 15 years or so, and it is very nice when everything's kind of taken care of for you, when your 401k and your health and all benefits and everything are taken care of. It's a little bit easier. So I will say that being self-employed is
hard.
Really cool, but it's really, really hard. So yeah.
All right, next question.
Next one. Who we got next?
Don't be shy, guys.
We're all
Who
friends here.
wants to ask? Yeah.
There you go.
Don't
Yeah.
don't get up.
You don't need to go behind. There you go.
I know you said earlier that your intentions from the beginning were kind of to make this into a career. So where do you guys stand today? Do you have any other job or side hobbies that you guys like to do?
Yeah, so I will say, so my original intention was to possibly turn this into something that could become a career. But the one goal that we do have, and number one for us always, is to help other people on their Disney vacation. And everything else falls into place. So second is, hey, could this also become a career? But I think if we ever take career and try and put it first, we're going to fail. But if we take first and say,
I agree.
We want to help people save money. We want to help people have a better trip. We want to help people understand Genie Plus, which could be an entire podcast on its own. There could just be a podcast called Genie Plus. You're like, seriously. So yeah, that's always been our number one goal, is to do that completely, and everything else will fall in line.
I'd love to be the Mr. Beast of Disney.
There you
That's
go.
who I'd love
Whew.
to be.
that is a lofty goal.
To give all this stuff away like he does.
Yeah.
I love helping people, and my daughters, and I know they're still far off from your ages, but still they're getting older and they teach me things. And that is one of the things that I feel like y'all are probably more familiar with than I was. But Mr. Beast is amazing and gives out so many things, and he's just this incredible person. And when she explained everything, I was like,
You're like,
I want
"What?"
to do that. I want to do that for Disney. I just wish I could just be like, hey, guess what? I know y'all are all upgraded to Animal Kingdom Lunch, and that's amazing, but I wish I could be like, you know what? Now you can do this because I'm giving it to you.
Mr. Beast could.
I
He's
cannot,
listening. He's
but,
listening. Hook everybody up a little bit.
But it's just
yeah.
that's where, the career thing you asked about, I would love to do that aspect of it. And not, like Jeremy said, not call it a career, but literally just do the things and then, just let it fall
Yeah.
into place.
Yeah, and I do. I produce for my living. I produce 2 other podcasts. I'm again self-employed. I run my own company and have my own business. I left the corporate world 7 years ago and just went out on my own. And so I do produce other podcasts. I do marketing. I do all my brother's work. He's now moved into being a corporate speaker. So he speaks for major brands all over the world. And so I do all of his social. I produce his podcast as well. I just picked up a new podcast for the year. It's called Ivy Unleashed. If you want to check it out, it's really good. It's kind of like a self-help, health kind of type of thing, motivational podcast, but it's pretty awesome. And then, Rhonda works her butt off as a hairdresser, but she basically works almost nurse's hours because she does 3 12-hour days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is incredible because both of our jobs
That works out.
that we can come down here today. You know, we don't have to clock out, clock in,
Yep.
anything. I don't have to tell a boss, hey, can I take Friday off? I need to go to Disney. And that was part of the reason that I left the corporate world, is that I was doing so much traveling for my brother at the time. Because when I was producing that podcast, his biggest thing was that he never wanted to do an interview over Zoom. So that's the reason he said, all right, if we have to pay to get on a flight to go sit down with Mark Cuban, that's what we'll do. And so that was kind of the thing where all of a sudden I came out and I was like, wait, I can either go meet Mark Cuban and hang out with him and have to take PTO, or in the future I can just leave. I don't have to answer to anybody else. And that's always been a dream of mine, to work for myself and all. I used to commute an hour each way into Jacksonville, and I just told myself every day, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this my whole life. Hobbies, man, there's not time for hobbies when we come here. So I guess this is our hobby. Does Universal count? Is Universal a hobby?
I don't know.
That'd probably be the other one, right?
I don't know what a hobby would
like
be
to
of
cook.
mine. You do.
I really like to cook a
Yeah.
lot.
And
Yeah.
it's really good.
Thank you. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, other than that, it's coming here. This is our hobby and our job, I guess you could say.
Shorts boy. Just kidding.
I'm cold looking
That's
at you.
me. Hi, my name's Logan. I'm also from Indiana. You guys kind of talked about like helping other people is like part of pursuing your passion and through this podcast and stuff. But I was curious, what other big benefits do you guys see from doing the podcast, doing the businesses through Disney and things like that?
For me, it's relationships. I mean, I'll kind of go back to the relationships, or it's again going back to helping people. This morning we went to Animal Kingdom, and it was absolutely insane. And so we're like, all right, I don't know if we're going to stay here long. So we went to Dawa Bar, and we're going to have something to drink. And Will was a cast member. We had never met him, but he saw our sweatshirts, and we just chatted with him a little bit, and we could tell like. It helped. It looked like it helped his morning a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
and he told us, he was like, "Man, you wouldn't believe the stuff that happens." And we're like, "Oh, you know, we know. We've heard some stories and all." And he's like, 99 out of 100 people are absolutely incredible. He's like, "But you know, there is that one person," and he's just kind of, you know, thank you for your shirts. And then same with Don, who when you went to purchase your lounge fly today, at the trading post there, again, he was just so thankful that we just were wearing these simple shirts. And it's the reason we wear them almost every time we come to the parks. First of all, you get so many compliments, which is cool because it engages you in conversation. Most of the time, we just got asked when we were waiting on an Uber to come over here. A lot of times they'll say, you know, where do you make magic?
Yep.
Because everybody thinks we're cast members and we're just, you know, not working currently, and we're trying to spread the love. And we're like, you know, we not anywhere at Disney, but we made these shirts because we've made a lot of cast member friends, and we know what you guys go through and all of that. And so, yeah, selling these, I think, has been one of my favorite things. And it's just so cool. I mean, even to walk up and see, you know, Paul wearing one of the shirts is just awesome. Like, but we have yet to spot one in the parks from someone that we didn't know, which is kind of crazy.
It's true. But Logan, I feel like to really answer your question, we've been trying to get away from like, or not get away from, but get to really helping somebody. And we have almost, I don't know if the right word would be partnered, but Give Kids the World is a major wish community where they literally give back to these children that are, I'm going to try not to cry, but they have a condition where they get this wish. And that is why we are doing the Main Street 16 for the second year in a row. And we've always wanted to help more and do more, and partnering with them and being able to raise this money to help families is beyond phenomenal for us. And that right there is what it is about. And that is what we're trying to do. And it's so cool because we do get to do this. And last year we gave, I believe, 2 children.
Yeah, it was about equal to about 2 families getting to come down. And so we're hoping to do a lot more this year.
So we're trying to do more this year. So to answer that major question, that's probably what the answer would be majorly.
And we're
Again,
we're just
to
thankful
always-
we're thankful that we've had a community that has come, around. I mean, that because it's not us. We just happen to say, all right, let's turn on some mics and let's talk about something we love. And everybody else has really kind of almost formed the community around it. And yeah, to do what we did last year in our first year with Give Kids the World was amazing. This is coming up the weekend of February 3rd is going to be our second annual one. So we're in high gear trying to get everything for that. But yeah, talking to Omar, who works for Give Kids the World, who's kind of the guy that we go to, is just an incredible human being. And yeah, just the stories we get to hear from him and knowing that we have an opportunity with everybody else in our community to raise this money for them is really cool. And that we were able to get to a point, because we couldn't have done that year one.
No, we couldn't.
Or two or three or even four almost. It took 5
Absolutely.
years for us to say, all right, I think we can do something now
Yep.
to help this organization. And that's been
Absolutely.
that's been absolutely unbelievable. And stuff like this is amazing. Like, I can't believe we're sitting here with all you guys.
I know.
Yeah,
It
when
is
you
kinda
emailed
cool.
me, I was like, wait, what? I went to Ron, I was like, look at this. What is this
I
about?
was like,
That's crazy.
Wait, what? These kids are gonna do that? I'm like, oh god, I don't know how to do that.
Ron has been very nervous.
Yeah, I kind of have been. Not gonna lie.
But we just stopped to see some friends at Riviera over there on the way over here, and we're like, oh, sorry, we got to go. Here's what we're doing. And they're like, what? That's so neat. And we're like, it is, right? How's that even possible? So, yeah, we're thankful for y'all and to be here.
All right, next question, guys. Who's coming? Oh, I see. Come on,
Like you're
girl.
ready.
Come on.
Hi, my name is Ashlyn. I'm also from Indiana. To counter that previous question, what is the biggest challenge you guys have faced with turning your passion into your work?
Ooh.
Finances.
Ashlyn, that's
I mean,
a good
yeah.
one.
I mean, honestly, I'll go right out and say it. Like, it's not cheap to come to Disney every 2 to 3 weeks. But it's something that we put a focus on. And Rhonda's kind of always said it this way. She says, we'd rather spend our money so you don't have to, if that makes sense on certain things. Like, let's go to the first one that comes to mind is Boo Bash. They came back after COVID. Everything opened up. We had a couple years of no Halloween party, and they created this Boo Bash, more of an after hours type thing, not the full Mickey's Not So Scary. And our thought was, all right, we can go ahead and spend the money to do it because people are wondering if it's worth it. So we went, and for us, it was worth it. But that part is a huge challenge. I'm trying to think of the other challenges. Just, it gets tough sometimes to keep doing it. I mean, it gets tough to keep going. There's time, and she's kind of the cheerleader. There's plenty of times she'll come in on a Sunday or wake up and be like, hey, we got to record today. And I'm just like, oh, do we really? Like, so it can be a challenge. I mean, it's like anything. It's still a job, And I think that's the other part is separating work from leisure.
Well, and it's funny, Ashlyn. It's kind of funny that I've said, you got these movie stars, you got these
Rock stars.
You
Musicians,
got
yeah.
What am I trying to say? The people that the guys that football players. Thank
There
you.
you
All those people. You got football players, and they're like, "Oh, I got to go do my job." And all y'all are like, "Right. Okay. All right, movie star. All right, Tom Cruise. You have to work, right?" That was the biggest thing as being a hairdresser, and I would tell people what I'm doing, and they'd be like, "Oh, it's work." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is," because
You usually get the sarcastic, well, that must be nice.
But
You're like,
it's the
well, it is
situation.
nice.
It is, but
But-
it's the situation of like, but it is like I can't come and just go like today we were at Animal Kingdom and it was stupid busy. I mean, with the marathon people, like it was crazy busy, which was fine. But we wanted to go to Nomad Lounge because Jeremy was looking up all this new stuff. So we're like, guess what? We can work. We can do this. Nomad Lounge was a 2-hour wait, and by the time we were going to be like done, it would have interfered with what we had prior planned. So we're like, great, now we can't do that. That's where the work comes in, and that's where it's like, this is work. This is something, or where then we're like, okay, let's try to do this. And then they're like, well, this is new. And I'm like, oh man, I wasn't going to work today, but guess what? I'm working now.
Yeah.
So that's where it's hard to not get to enjoy like y'all right now are working. I feel like this is work, and you're like, I mean, really, who? All right, as a raise of hands, let me be honest. Who really wanted to do this today? Not joking. Raise your hands. I'm serious, and be honest. See, I love this because nobody wanted to
we
do
could be in the
this.
parks right now.
You could be doing whatever you wanted, and I love that. Thank you for your honesty. That right there is the answer to her question.
That's a good one. That's very good.
There you go.
I do think the workplace separation is hard. Like we came with we brought the kids. They hadn't been in 11 months. We brought them for Christmas, and we were actually here 23rd through 26th. And yeah, it's hard to all of a sudden say, all right, let me put my phone away. I don't have to document everything that's going on. But then I'm still
in the background
yeah,
feel
but
like we have to.
I do need to see what's going on.
Yep.
And so that part's a little hard. And same thing, I know it probably sounds silly to some people. They're like, oh, wow, you have to post something to social media? That stinks. And it doesn't stink. It's incredible. But it's considered work. I mean.
Because, again, you go back and you tell these kids, like, oh, I had to do this. They're going to be like, oh, I feel sorry for you.
You're going to sit outside at Disney in 65-degree weather and talk about Disney?
Right.
How rough.
And then you were at Animal Kingdom Lodge?
Yep. Oh, man, it's hard being you.
But, exactly. So, there you go.
But, yeah, I think that is it. It's not – I can't even say it's not all glamorous. It's absolutely amazing. We absolutely
it's so fun.
love to do this, but it still is
All right,
work.
show of hands. Who's still – even though you're working – who's still having fun, and you'd rather be here than in Indiana?
There we go.
Thank you. You guys are rocking and awesome. All right, we got another question coming up. And y'all don't have to follow your papers.
Yeah, you ask.
If
ask
anybody
whatever,
wants to come
whatever
up
you
and
want.
ask a question, please
All right, let's do it,
ask a
Logan.
question. Oh, it's got Logan again.
All right, what are your guys' favorite Disney characters?
Stitch.
I'll show you right here.
Stitch and Olaf. For
Olaf
him.
and Stitch.
Stitch for me. Logan, what's your favorite Disney character?
Like Squirt from
Yes. Yes.
He likes Squirt from Nemo.
I feel like we don't love any what you would consider, I guess, the super main characters. Like Stitch is a family
Beauty
favorite.
and the Beast. All right. You
Well,
want
yeah, if
mine?
you start
I
talking those.
I have my whole half sleeve of tattoos. I got Tangled, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
All right. We got another question.
Favorite Disney either Broadway production or favorite Disney song. It could be either or both. Like I don't really care. I just want as a musical theater guy, I like to know.
What is yours?
My favorite Broadway production is from Disney, probably Newsies.
Okay, yeah.
And my favorite Disney song.
That's a tough one. Disney song's a tough one.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay, so let's see with Broadway productions.
Okay. Can we count Hamilton since it's on Disney Plus?
Yes, I'm
technically
counting
Disney.
Newsies because it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, there you go. I'm a Hamilton junkie. That's my go-to. I've gotten out of it now, but I used to go through a point where I would listen to the soundtrack every single day. It's my go. If I don't know what to put on, I will put on Hamilton. I absolutely, and it's funny because this was years and years ago when Hamilton was first out. Her best friend growing up, who actually introduced us, was huge into Hamilton. We were at the Keys on vacation with them, and she was like, you got to listen to this soundtrack, because I've always enjoyed rap music. Like, I grew up on rap music, basically. And she was like, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. And I'm like, I'm not going to listen to a Broadway show. Like, I was not into, like, musical theater or Broadway at all. And I just didn't listen to it. And then when it came on Disney Plus, I was like, I guess I should put it on and give it a chance. And I was just blown away. I did not throw away my shot. Greatest Showman. I'm now thinking of just musicals. I know, but
well, I'm gonna
love
say that. Because I've seen it.
You've seen it, correct? You've seen
Yeah, I've
Broadway.
seen twice.
Okay.
Lion King. So, and I say Broadway, and I use quotations because I was not in New York, but it was in
counts, don't worry.
Jacksonville. So
I just remember there is actually one show I do like better than Newsies. It's called Hunchback Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Even though it never got made to Broadway, it's an awesome show. I recommend, and that's my dream role, Quasimodo, as a musical theater guy.
That is awesome. I love that. I've never seen any sort of Broadway or off Broadway show really, so that's kind of where I stand. But I have watched them, so hopefully that counts.
All right, guys. Any other just off the cuff questions? Please feel free to come up.
Hi, my name is Ken.
Hi, Ken.
I was wondering what inspired you guys to come up with the name for your podcast.
Ooh, that's a good one for Jeremy.
Yeah. So the original podcast was going to be called Making Magical Memories, and I was like, boy, does that not roll off the tongue? Like nobody's going to be able to say that. And so yeah, I'm trying to think. I knew I wanted something that was Disney related. Love Main Street.
I just started to say we do love Main Street. You know, everybody walks down Main Street, sees the castle, loves it. So yeah, I think you.
Yeah, it just kind of came. It was just coming off Main Street, and we were like, well, and it came from that magic and making magic and all, and that's just basically where it just kind of came out from there. And it was really only the second name we thought of, and we're like, that's the one. Yep. Let's make a logo. Let's buy a website, and let's make it happen. So there you go. We did, as always, when you are on location, when you're on the road recording, things do come up and arise. We had a little bit of technical difficulties towards the end, but we really got through, I think, most everything that the students wanted to cover. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, we walked with the entire group over to Primo Piatto at Riviera, sat down, had lunch, and were able to chat with them more.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Answer any additional questions and stuff, right?
Yeah, and they didn't really seem to have any, which, I mean, I totally get that. But it was super cool because then I went around to every table and started asking, like, what are they most excited for the rest of the trip? Because they still, I mean, they were there.
Yeah, we were day 2, and they've got a full, I think, 11-day trip somewhere around there,
it
ending at Universal for 2 days.
Amazing. Yeah. They were going to do Keys of the Kingdom. Like, and it was just so cool to hear everything that they were going to do. And they did ask a few tips from me, which I thought was sweet. And it was really neat.
Well, and these students range from first timers. There were 2 of them that had never been to Disney World at all before, up to some that had been pass holders in the past and things like that. 2 of them had been on this same trip 3 years ago. And so it was really cool to just hear from them and get to know these kids. Yeah, I will say, because they're certainly kids we could be their parents, technically, which is crazy to think. But anyway, we had an absolute wonderful time. Thank you to Paul for reaching out to us and for letting us be a part of this. Next trip back, we would love to do it again if you guys will have us. So we are going to wrap it up though for this episode. But first, we got to mention Main Street 16 Challenge. Woo-hoo. Year number 2 is coming the first weekend in February. We have an incredible schedule lined up from a Thursday kind of meetup over there at the Wyndham Lake Buena Vista. If you go to mainstreet16.com, you can get discounted room rates. We are going to have a Friday trivia and live podcast recording over at Stargazers Lounge. Tickets for that are now on sale. You can also find that at mainstreet16.com. Or you can simply go there to donate, sign up for the Saturday 16 Ride Challenge. We will be selecting those rides here very, very soon. We're also super thankful to one of our sponsors, which is Vacation Grocery Delivery. They get everything you need delivered to you at the exact same price that it is at the store. They are not marking up the items like every other delivery service. They also can deliver alcohol without you being present. Woo. And it's one set delivery fee. But the absolute best part, it is run by, it employs former and current cast members. Jessica and Landon have an absolutely incredible business, and actually Franklin College used their service. Yes. And they were just blown away. They could not say enough nice things about how great this service is and how communicative they were and everything during the shopping process. So go to Vacation Grocery Delivery, FL.com to book for your upcoming trip. Hit the subscribe button, get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And as always, we'd be so super thankful if you'd leave us a rating and review.
Because it'll help our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home.